Hello, welcome to the video version of the Healthy Spirituality Book Chat. Each month on healthyspirituality.org, I'm going to select a book that either I have been wanting to read or wanting to reread, like it's a book that's been very special that I've saved and reread several times. And I like to take a look at this book and glean one or two lessons that I could share with you that we can apply to our own spiritual growth and our spiritual journey in life. Here on the blog today on healthyspirituality.org, I've shared with you one lesson that I learned from this month's selection. And here on the video version, I thought I'd send a second lesson that I learned. And the book I selected this month is called The Art of Pilgrimage. And the tagline is The Seeker's Guide to Making Travel Sacred, and it's written by Phil Cruzino. This book was written originally in 1998 and re-expanded and updated in 2012. And I had not looked at it for a number of years and got it off on the bookshelf about a week ago and delved into it on last Saturday morning for about 4 or 5 hours and fell in love with this book. It is full of wisdom, thought-provoking quotes, and I am so glad I opened it again. So I hope you take the time to look at The Art of Pilgrimage. Now, the author goes to some exotic places and some adventures and corners of the earth most of us just hear about or may not even have heard of before on that. But what I like about this book was that it inspires you also to see the wonder and the adventure of wherever you are and the encounters that you have in your life. I like the Alan Watts quote from the book that goes like this: "We usually don't look, we overlook." And I don't know about you guys, but I find that so true that we're in a world, a society right now where we seem to skim, just go from point A, point B, get things done in a hurry. What's the most efficient way to get things done? And we don't often enjoy the things that are happening every day. One of the best things I did a number of years ago was to move into this room that I'm in right now, making this recording. This is my office, and I have a window right, I'm looking at it as I do this recording outside, and the birds come in for the bird feeder there, and I can see the flowers in summertime, and I can see the clouds race by, and the wind dance with the trees. And in the other room I had my office, I did not have a good view like that. And it enhances my day, my creativity. I think it puts a light to my spirit to be able to see things with new eyes. And I think as pilgrims, that is what we are invited to do on this pilgrimage of life. He has a quote in the book from Nehru that says, "We live in a wonderful world that's full of beauty, charm, and adventure. There is no end to the adventures we can have if only we seek them with open eyes." And I think that is the lesson, the second lesson I want to share with you from The Art of Pilgrimage, is to see each day with open eyes. I have a friend who likes to take day trips. We live in the tri-state area between Ohio and Indiana and Michigan. Pretty rural area. I would not call this a high tourist area except for some wonderful lakes over to the west of us. But she finds these most fascinating places to see, I would say within about an hour, hour and a half drive, maybe a little bit longer drive, a day trip drive in this area. You know how a lot of times you're driving down the road and you're hurrying to get from home to your destination, and you see these odd little things at the side of the road, or a sign or a certain shop, and you think, someday I'm going to stop and see this. Joan stops and sees it, and then she features them on Facebook, and they always bring a smile on my face, and I think, I didn't know that. And then she takes it just a little bit further, often digging into the history of that place. She is seeing the world, her world, with new eyes, and finding that sacredness all around us. A few years back, when our kids were little, we decided to go camping over by Lake Erie. We're about an hour and a half from some neat campgrounds on the large lake, Lake Erie. And our oldest daughter, Valerie, we said, why don't you bring one of your friends? And she invited her friend Brooke along. I will never forget Brooke's face as she saw for the first time in her life, she was about 7, Lake Erie. They were allowed to say, take your shoes off and go down and put your toes in the water. She giggled, she laughed, every inch of her body was full of joy as she saw Lake Erie for the first time. And to this day, I can't think of Lake Erie, I can't see Lake Erie without going back to that wonderful encounter, that moment, that sacred moment where Brooke saw Lake Erie for the first time. And it makes me smile. It brought light and life to that child at a new level she had never experienced before. And to this day, it has transformed me to see light in live light and life in every moment. The joy of seeing a lake for the first time. What matters most on our journey in life is how deeply we see, how attentive we hear, and how we dig into these richness of all our everyday encounters, and we allow them to take root into our hearts and our souls. In The Art of Pilgrimage, the author shares this story. He says French essayist Jacques Rida, it's R-E-D-A, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, Jacques Rida reminds himself before he leaves his Paris apartment every Sunday for a long stroll, he reminds himself to see one new thing. He's done this in his entire life, and sometimes it gets to be quite a challenge, but he always finds something new, something that he has learned to notice that other people ignore. And he has learned that to see in this way is to move closer to the sacredness that is all around us. Cruzano writes in The Art of Pilgrimage, the practice of soulful travel is to discover the overlapping point between history and everyday life. The way to find the essence of every place, every day, in the markets and the small chapels, in the out-of-the-way city parks, even in craft shops. Curiosity about the extraordinary in the ordinary moves the heart, intent on seeing behind and going deeper to a deeper level. So the second lesson I want to share with you in The Art of Pilgrimage is see something new each day. Try that practice and you will be a pilgrim.